The Las Vegas Raiders have been on a roller coaster, and Raider Nation has felt every twist and turn. It started with John Gruden bringing fire back to the franchise. The team was gaining momentum until his off-field controversy pulled the brakes. Then came Rich Bisaccia. He stepped in, took the team to the playoffs, and won the hearts of the locker room. But instead of rewarding him, the front office handed the keys to Josh McDaniels. That decision? A disaster. McDaniels pushed out Derek Carr without a real backup plan. The locker room divided, the team spiraling. But just when it looked like all hope was gone, Antonio Pierce arrived. His energy was different. As interim head coach, he reignited belief in Vegas. Players rallied, fans started to believe again. He was given the head job, but only on paper. The truth? Owner Mark Davis didn't fully buy in. He gave Pierce a short-term deal, more like a test than a vote of confidence. Before we dive deeper into the latest drama and changes, make sure to subscribe to the channel, drop a like, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you never miss an update on the Raiders. Now, let's get back to it. Pierce wanted to build a strong coaching staff. He went after names like Chip Kelly and Cliff Kingsbury to run the offense, but they backed off. Why? They saw what Pierce saw, a one-year deal disguised as two. It didn't scream long-term vision. So, what's next? Mark Davis changed the game. He brought in minority owner Tom Brady, signed GM John Spytek, and gave Pete Carroll the head coaching job, with a real 3-year deal. That's commitment. And now, the Raiders finally have an offensive coordinator who believes this thing is built to last. Antonio Pierce was stepping into uncharted territory. Everyone knew he'd have to grow into the head coach role, but with the right support around him, he had a real shot. That support almost came in the form of offensive masterminds like Cliff Kingsbury or Chip Kelly. For a moment, it looked like Kingsbury was locked in. Then, at the last minute, it fell apart. By the time that door closed, most top offensive minds had already been hired elsewhere. Pierce was left with limited options, and that's how the Raiders ended up with Luke Getsy. Let's be honest, that hire came with baggage. Getsy's time as an offensive coordinator had already raised serious questions. He had a habit of calling 3 straight runs when the run game was dead, or dialing up 3 straight pass plays on days when the quarterback couldn't hit water from a boat. His game planning felt robotic and predictable. Some guys are great at coaching specific positions, but just aren't built for running the whole offense. That might be the case here. Davante Adams backed him. Getsy once coached him in Green Bay, and their bond was strong, but even that loyalty couldn't mask the on-field results. In fact, Getsy's struggles played a major role in Adams becoming frustrated in Vegas. 2 decisions stood out as turning points. First, the hire of the wrong offensive line coach, something that disrupted the Raiders' protection game from day one. Second, the move to name Gardner Minshew the starting quarterback. Pierce reportedly wasn't fully behind that call, but he respected his coordinator's control over the offense. And that's what made it worse, because the other option, Aiden O'Connell, might not be elite, but he was clearly the better fit. Now, with Pete Carroll in charge, the Raiders are counting on experience to bring discipline and direction, something they've been craving for years. Pete Carroll didn't take the Raiders' job to experiment. He came in with a clear vision, and with that 3-year contract in hand, he had the authority to execute it. One of his first moves, bringing in Chip Kelly as his offensive coordinator, something Antonio Pierce tried and failed to do a year earlier. Now, some people remember Kelly for his rough stint as a head coach in Philadelphia. But look closer, and you'll see something different. His offenses were electric, consistently ranking in the top 5 in both scoring and total yards. The guy knows how to move the chains. And what's even more impressive, Chip Kelly has evolved. He's not just running wide-open spread concepts anymore. At Ohio State, he showed a much deeper playbook, incorporating I formation, 3 tight end sets, and traditional power schemes. He hasn't abandoned his roots, but he's adapted them to modern NFL demands. That kind of flexibility is exactly what the Raiders need. This time, Kelly steps into a far more stable situation. There's no quarterback drama, no choosing between inconsistent options. He has a reliable signal caller, someone who's been through adversity and come out stronger. A quarterback who can execute a complex offense and lead a locker room with confidence. For once, the Raiders aren't patching things together with hope. They're building with a plan, and Kelly, finally in the right role, could be the one who lights a fire under this offense. For the first time in years, the Raiders finally look like a team with a clear identity and a quarterback who fits it. Over the past 3 seasons, Geno Smith has quietly become one of the NFL's most accurate passers. He's not flashy, but he's efficient. And for a team built to run the football and play tough defense, that's exactly the kind of leader they need under center. Last season, the Raiders made headlines when they beat the Kansas City Chiefs without completing a pass for nearly 3 quarters. That wasn't a fluke. It was the result of a power run game and hard-nosed defense. Interim coach Antonio Pierce laid down a blueprint that day, and the Eagles followed it to perfection in the Super Bowl. But here's the problem. Former GM Tom Telesco didn't see eye to eye with Pierce. Pierce wanted to re-sign star running back Josh Jacobs to anchor the ground attack. Telesco? He didn't value the running back position. That kind of mismatch in philosophy is exactly why Telesco failed with the Chargers, and why he's no longer calling the shots in Vegas. Now, things are different. New GM John Spytek and head coach Pete Carroll are fully aligned. Both believe in old-school football, run the ball, control the clock, and play smothering defense. It's no surprise that they spent the 6th overall pick on Ashton Jeanty, a powerhouse back with vision, burst, and the toughness to wear down defenses. Jeanty isn't just another running back. He's the type of player who can carry an offense when the passing game isn't clicking. And with a coach like Carroll calling the shots, he'll be used the right way, right out of the gate. When the Raiders drafted Ashton Jeanty, it wasn't just about finding a good running back. It was about building a future around a game changer. Jeanty didn't rack up stats by bullying weaker teams. He ran through elite defenses like Penn State and Oregon, breaking tackles and making defenders miss like it was second nature. His strength, speed, and vision are elite, but it's his football IQ that truly sets him apart. Jeanty doesn't just run to space. He manipulates defenders, attacking angles, giving them a shoulder, and taking it away before they can land a hit. In short, he gives the Raiders everything Josh Jacobs once did, and then some. He's just as tough, far more elusive, and lightning quick. Behind a stronger offensive identity, Jeanty might be the most dangerous weapon this team has had in years. And the defense, it's already proven. In the second half of 2023, Las Vegas had the top-ranked defense in the NFL. Even with a rash of injuries in 2024, the real problem wasn't the defense. It was the offense stalling, forcing them back onto the field again and again. That won't happen anymore. Even after losing a few key players, the Raiders reloaded with guys who fit the vision of Pete Carroll and defensive coordinator Patrick Graham. No more confusion, no more conflicting philosophies. Every piece, Jeanty in the backfield, Geno Smith under center, Kelly calling plays, Carroll overseeing it all, is built to play physical, focused football. For the first time in a long time, the Raiders don't just have talent, they have direction.